In the previous episode, I talked about a simple idea. Managers should not become the process. They should not be the person holding every unclear workflow together. Their future role is to orchestrate how people, AI, decisions, and accountability move through the work. Now, today, let's make that practical. Take a simple team delivery task, for example, a monthly business update. On paper, this looks very straightforward, yes? Each function shares progress, numbers are checked, and risks are highlighted. Leadership receives a clear update. But in reality, this is where you often see the hidden work of management. If we look at the current workflow, the manager becomes the connector. They ask people for updates, they chase missing information, they check whether the numbers are right. They notice when one team's update doesn't match another team's version. They rewrite the message so it makes sense. They design what is noise and what should be escalated. They turn scattered inputs into something leadership can actually use. So yes, the team exists and yes, the process exists, but the process is not really carrying the work. That's the issue. The manager is carrying the work. Now look at the AI added version. AI can summarize meeting notes, draft the monthly update. It can even pull more different information from more different systems, send reminders, format the report. You will have cleaner dashboard. That is helpful, but the most important work may still be sitting with the manager. And what is that? He still has to, he or she, figure out what actually matters, which number is wrong or might be wrong, which risk is being softened, which issue needs a decision, and what leadership really needs to pay attention to. So AI has made the report faster, but it has not necessarily made the workflow clearer. That's why manager is the still person absorbing the ambiguity. But in case of AI native version, it is different because in that case, the workflow is redesigned as a hybrid system from the start. What happens here, AI gathers first a layer of information. It helps and flags missing data, repeated blockers, and changes from the previous one what happened. The system shows where updates are incomplete or inconsistent. Here, our team member validates the number, and other person adds business context. AI drafts the first version of the update. But now manager is not reviewing every sentence. They are reviewing the judgment. They're looking at the story behind the numbers. And mainly they are deciding what needs escalation. They're making sure right person owns the next move. They're making sure where human accountability sits. That is orchestration, not doing everything, not chasing everything, and not even trusting AI blindly, but designing how people, AI, information, decisions, and accountability move together. And this is important because managers are not only there to move work. What we expect, they're there to support people as well, to coach, to give feedback, to develop capability. Notice when someone is struggling. Help people build better judgment. And that part of management matters even more in the future. But in many organizations today, it gets squeezed not because managers do not care. The reason here is too much of their time is consumed by manual workflow maintenance. And when managers spend their energy chasing updates, fixing handoffs, clarifying ownership, and even rewriting unclear work, the human side of management becomes reactive. Feedback happens late. Development conversation might get postponed. Coaching happens only when there is a problem. Performance support becomes rushed. And managers end up spending more time keeping the process alive than helping people grow. This is another reason the AI native version matters. When the workflow is redesigned properly, AI doesn't replace the manager's human role. It creates more space for it because it helps to surface patterns where it helps you to see where someone is repeatedly blocked, where a team member is waiting too long for decisions. And it also helps to see you where quality issues keep appearing, where work is delayed because ownership is unclear, or someone may need more support, more context, or more challenge. I can prepare useful context before one-to-one. It can summarize previous commitments. It can highlight repeated blockers. Help managers to see patterns they may miss when they are overloaded. But the manager still owns the conversation. They still bring judgment, still understand the context, and know whether issue is capability, confidence, workload, unclear priorities, or a broken process. AI may show you a signal, but manager has to understand the person. That is the difference. In AI added version, AI may help manager write things faster, write feedback faster, but in AI native version, the work system helps the manager give better feedback on time. Not generic feedback, not automated performance management, but feedback connected to real work, real patterns, and real development. Go back to the monthly business update. AI may show you that one team member keeps submitting updates late. The our manager response might be to chase harder. The AI added response might be to send an automatic reminder. But the AI native manager looks deeper. Maybe the person is unclear on expectations. They are waiting for input from someone else. Maybe they do not understand what leadership needs. Are they overloaded? Or the workflow is asking them to provide information they do not actually own. Now this changes the conversation. Because here manager is no longer just saying, please send this on time. They can say, let's look at what is making this difficult. Let's clarify what good looks like. Let's make sure You are not carrying a gap that belongs to somewhere else. That is development. That is coaching. That is human management. And AI native work design makes that more possible because it reduces the hidden process burden and makes the white signals visible earlier. So the future manager is not less human. The future manager has to become more human in the white places. Less time chasing the work and more time improving the work. Less time collecting updates and more time building judgment. And more time on developing people inside clear workflows. That is the real opportunity here. A manager becomes the person who decides what AI can handle, what humans must own, where review is needed, where accountability sits, and where judgment must stay visible. That is why managers need to be developed differently. Not only trained on how to use AI tools, they're supposed to be trained on how to design and orchestrate hybrid work systems, because the goal is not to automate more activity here. The goal is to create better work. Managers should not become the process. They should become the people who orchestrate humans and AI work systems. Whatever name you want to give is your choice. Team lead, manager, and future orchestrator, but they're going to exist.